Day trading recap for Tuesday, August 6th, 2019. Market just closed about 8 minutes ago. This was one trade I had today. It was a short of this oil stock, Vermilion Energy. And it took me right to the end of the day because technically for me this was not this was a positive trade, a successful trade. It just wasn't what I term a winning trade for my statistical purposes. And for all you new day traders out there, I highly recommend that you really track all of your trades, write down everything, keep it either in a computer program somewhere or even just on a Word document, or just I write it down in a notebook, just jot it down in case something happens. I keep everything. It can really help you fine-tune your trading to know all the details of your trades. And for me, a winning trade is a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio. So if I'm getting in a trade at right here, 1574, where I got into this trade, and I put my stop at around 1588. I think that's what I had actually said my stop would be, right at the top of this little doji here. 1588, that's 14 cents. So that means I need the stock to go down 28 cents, 2-to-1. And if you follow that pattern, at minimum a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio, over time you'll make money if you are successfully identifying stocks that are moving in certain patterns, because you can be wrong twice for every time you're right once and still end up either coming out flat or making a little bit of money depending on how you manage the trade. But basically 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio is what I consider a win. So this never got down to my 2-to-1 because it never got down 28 cents from where I got in, but it still closed below. I still ended up closing out this trade below where I got in because it was a short, and it made me money. I made money on the trade. It just wasn't great trade. It just was a successful trade, and which is fine. A winning day, and that's all you really need. A couple of these a day, I consider them technically push trades because it never hit my stop and it never hit my target, but I still made money on it. So that's perfectly fine with me. Enough of these a day, and I'm all right. These will hold you over until you find that nice stock that's just blazing and creating really good opportunities for you. So the reason I got into this, it showed up in my no gap mover trade ideas stock scanner, and this is, I designed this. Basically it looks for stocks that unlike my gappers list, the stocks that aren't gapping. So if you look at the daily on this one, it kind of opened right where it closed yesterday. And so it wasn't going to get triggered in my gappers list, which looks for stocks that are maybe gapping, for news or earnings or whatever. So this just opened right where it was, but it was moving. So eventually, and this is why I kind of liked it too, it was really down the last few weeks. A couple 2-bar pullbacks here, but then continued down. It's an oil stock, and oil stocks were down early in the day. And also it had no resistance. You see here, if I go back a couple of years, maybe 3 years, go back to 2017, maybe 2016, look how high the stock is. There's no resistance down here. There's nothing to stop it from falling even further, which is good. You don't want that kind of resistance in your way. It gives you an open path for an even bigger move. So that's why I liked it. And so I got in right here, 1574, excuse me. And it just never made a big move down. It gradually moved down. It was using this 8 EMA as resistance and the 20 SMA as a backup resistance here. I use those when those are moving together, it can indicate a nice a long move throughout the day. I shouldn't say long. It's a short, obviously, but I mean an extended move throughout the day. And then when the 8 EMA crosses that 20, sometimes it indicates a change in direction for the stock. So you should be aware of that. If it ever happens, you might need to get out early or whatever. And you can see here, I got in here, and I thought maybe it might cross here. But it just hit its head and continued down. That kind of confirmed my suspicions that this stock was going to keep going lower. Dropped a little bit here. 3-bar pullback here got me a little nervous, but you can see it never closed above that 20 SMA, and then it continued down for the last hour of the day, basically. And I got out right at 1570. What was it? I got in at 1570. I got out at 1554. So 20-cent gain, which was nice. 1,000 shares. That's $200 if you took 1,000 shares, which is a nice day for a stock that technically didn't hit my target. But really, I wish this is the pattern I showed in my video yesterday for a stock that I traded. stocks that are down like this then kind of move sideways with the 8 EMA catching up and the 20 catching up and using it as resistance, and then it just kind of cliff dives. In my video yesterday, I talked about this I called it a cliff diver, because you get this movement where it goes sideways and uses that 8 EMA as resistance, and then all of a sudden, boom, you get a drop. And I wish I had seen this early in the day. I don't know if it wasn't in my no gappers list at that point. I can't imagine why it wouldn't be, because it was already down a bunch. It was already down about 50 cents. So why I missed it, I don't know. I was probably looking at other stocks, but right here, I would have loved to get in right here at like around about 16 something. And even if I wanted to wait for the break of 16 and get in like right here, 15.97, when it finally started dropping, get in here at 15.97, and then you could have ridden that down to about 15.57. That's 40 cents. I mean, 1,000 shares is $400. It's not a bad day. So I just didn't see it until it got here, and I thought maybe it still had room to move. Like I said, when you look at the yearly, there's no resistance down there. So I got in, and it just kind of moved sideways, but eventually I was rewarded with a 20-cent drop. So that was my trade. And oil was down today. You always want to keep an eye on the oil sector. It was down. Honestly, I didn't see this when it crossed here. This ETF for the oil. It never hurt me, even though oil was up. It never actually hurt me, as you could see from this trade. It kept going down. So this was sort of like an alpha. It was kind of moving on its own. The oil drop early in the day maybe helped propel it down a little bit more, but it was moving down, and I think that's just because it's been hurting bad. So I'll be watching this one tomorrow. This could continue even further tomorrow. There's no telling where the bottom is on this one, but it's definitely worth watching. So that was my trade. Yeah, that was it for today. I wasn't really watching that many other stocks, but had a nice, decent move on this VET, the Vermilion Energy company. So I hope everyone did well. Hopefully be back tomorrow, and good luck trading.